Okay, so we're going to talk about systems of equations again, but this time we're going to talk about how to write our own systems from a story problem. So usually you have to ask yourself, is this a y equals mx plus b problem, or is it a standard form problem? It's a standard form problem usually when there's a total amount. It's a y equals mx plus b when there's usually one per item. So this is a total amount kind of problem, even though they don't say the word total, they're implying the total. So 11 daylilies and 3 shrubs for a total of $92. And then the next one says a total of 102. We have 11 daylilies and 5 shrubs. All right, so this is already set up for elimination. Let's go ahead and just, we could multiply one of these by -1, but actually let's do a different method right now. Let's just subtract them. 11 minus 11, 3 minus 5, and then 92 minus 102. We'll go ahead and divide by -2. We're going to get 5. Let's go back to one of our original problems. And let's plug a 5 in for S. We're going to subtract 15 from both sides. And we're going to divide by 11. So it says find the cost of one daylily. One daylily is $7, and then one shrub is $5. So I'm not going to do this whole problem, but I wanted to show you how a story problem very similar to that one is going to be set up. So like I said, we're not really going to go through and solve it. So as a group of friends take a day-long tubing trip down a river. Okay, so one is $15 to rent a tube for a person, $7.50 to rent a tube for a cooler. And then there's another money amount here. So when they do these kind of problems, we're going to do all the money together. So we're going to go $15 per person tube and $7.50 per cooler tube, which gives us a total of $360. Okay, so that means we're not going to use those again, which doesn't really help us because it looks like we're just got one number left. Well, that one number is a total. The total goes over here by itself, but there's nothing left here, and that's where you just use the variable. So it would be P plus C. The amount of person tubes plus the amount of cooler tubes is a total of 26 tubes. So if you want to solve anything on a graphing calculator, the first and foremost thing you have to realize is that all the equations have to be in slope-intercept form. So I'm just going to make up something, and who knows, the solution may not be whole numbers, integers, it could be decimals, it doesn't matter. But I'm just going to throw in an equation here. So let's say it's 3x plus 9. And then the next equation is a slope of -2x plus 5. All right, so again, you have to have them in slope-intercept form in order to use a graphing calculator. Once you plug the equations in under this y equals tab, we're going to hit the graph button, and then they go ahead and graph both of our lines for us. And now we can see that they're intersecting at this point somewhere. So we want to figure out the exact point. So we're going to hit the button, the second button, which is in blue, and then hit the trace button, which is right next to the graph button. And we're going to go down and click number 5 for intersect. And then what happens is you can see it's flashing right here, and it's on this blue line. You're just going to use your arrows, and you're going to go close to it. It doesn't have to be right on the point of intersection, but get close to it, and then hit enter. And then what happens is it totally turns into the next function, which right now is the red line, and hit enter. And then it's going to ask us if we wanted to guess. We hit enter right away. And then what's going to happen is it's going to give us the answer right down here right away. The answer is -0.8, 6.6. All right, so what if it's these two problems that I want to do? And I have x plus 30 and then x squared minus x minus 90. Again, it's a nice straight line from the first equation. It's slope-intercept form, and the second one's a parabola, so it's going to be a curve. So most likely they're going to hit. Let's hit graph. Well, first of all, zoom 6 is always the standard window from -10 to 10. So there's my parabola. And notice I can't see my slope-intercept, and that's because my intercept was 30. So I'm going to go to my window. And for my y's, I'm going to go maybe -50 to 50 and see if the graph shows up. Okay. So you can see the parabola and you can see the straight line. You can see they're hitting, but I can't see exactly where they're hitting. So that means I need to move my x-axis out a little bit. So I'm going to go to window. Instead of going -10 to 10, how about -15 to 15 and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so now I can see where they're hitting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit second, trace, and go to intersect, which is number 5. So right now my cursor is like right there on the y-axis. Let's just get it close to one of my points. Enter, enter, enter. So they're telling me my exact answer is going to be 1242. Now let's do that process over again. Second, trace, 5. Go all the way down till you're at the other one. Just keep using your cursor till you get close to it. Hit enter, enter, enter. And here's my second intersecting point. So right away, I don't have to do any substitution. I don't have to do any elimination. The calculator will do it for me. And this is a concept from next year's course, but I did want to talk about it for a quick second. So they're telling me that these are my two equations. If I were to add straight up and down right now, I wouldn't get rid of anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do substitution. I'm going to substitute x plus 30 in place of the letter y up here. Then because it's a quadratic equation, I want everything on one side. So I'm going to subtract x and subtract 30 from both sides. And then I'm going to try and factor. Let's see if I can come up with any numbers that multiply to give me 120, but yet add up to -2. Now, if one of them has to be negative, it doesn't matter which one it is. So if I look at the numbers first, but it's got to add up to -2, I'm going to use 10 and -2. So I'm going to go plus 10 and minus 12. Then I'm going to solve them. And I'm going to get -10 and 12, which means that my parabola and my straight line are going to hit two spots. One spot is at x equals -10, and the other one is at x equals 12. But I still have to find the y values. So pick one of your equations. I'll probably pick this bottom one. And let's plug -10 into here. So what is -10 plus 30? Okay, so that's 20. Now let's plug 12 in there. What's 12 plus 30? And that will give me 42. So we can do it by hand, but look at how much longer it's going to take.